Hello, dear subscribers. Today we are starting chapter sources of energy. It's a very beautiful concept, a very easy one, a very general topic. Yet there are scientific terms that we have to understand. So listen to the lecture carefully. Let's get started. The content for the day are we're going to understand what energy is, what is the source of energy, what are the types of energy, then about fossil fuel, thermal power plant, hydropower plant, biomass, and wind energy. Let's get started. First, try and understand what energy is. So, if simply we'll say energy, energy is what? It is the ability to do work. Or we can also say that it is the total power which is derived from our natural resources. So, the energy, हमें if the entire day if we'll talk about if we eat then if we eat then what do we get the energy. By that energy, what do? We can do work, right? When we walk, when we run, when we do any physical kind of work, and when we study, we need energy for this, right? And not only the human, but if we talk about the vehicles, that is car, train, various machines, they also require this energy. Only the form of energy is going to vary from one body to another. So every object that is doing some work will require some or the other form of energy. Now today we have to see what are these forms of energy, from where are we getting this energy, how do we harness this energy, and will this energy meet our requirements, will this energy meet our requirements in future also. So all this we're going to study in this chapter. Okay, so now we know that whatever energy exists in nature is going to be converted into another form. So from one form of energy we get another form of energy. Like let us take an example of a car, right? So car mein there is a battery. So battery hai agar, so that means some chemical energy, but car is moving, so it is doing some work, so that chemical energy is converted into mechanical energy, right? So one form of energy is converted into another form of energy always. So if we'll talk about food that we're intaking, so that is some chemical that we're intaking in our body. So there'll be some chemical reaction. So there'll be chemical energy stored in our body. But when we do work with our hand, that means that chemical energy is converted into muscular energy, because of which we are able to do work. So what we want to say here is that energy can be converted from one form to another, and also in a useful form this energy may be dissipated into a less useful form in the environment. So that means continuous energy ka conversion hota hai, and continuous conversion mein there are some moments or there are some time when this energy is converted into less usable form. Let's say for an example, if I'm switching on the light, right? So what do I need? I just need the light energy from that tube light, right? So electrical energy is converted into light energy. But will that tube light not be heated after a point of time, right? It will become hot. So is that my requirement? No. That means that heat energy is a less usable form of energy. So continuously in this manner, a usable energy here, which was electrical energy, is converted into less usable form, just like here heat energy. So therefore we need to adapt some method so that we save energy, we utilize energy in the most efficient manner, so that less usable form में conversion कम हो, energy का wastage कम हो, and we don't face the energy crisis. Okay, so this is about energy. Now ये energy हमें कहाँ से मिल रहा है? What are the source of this energy, right? So a source matlab from wherever we are getting that energy, so that we can use it for a period of time. So if we have to define what is a source of energy, what we will define it as, it's a source of energy is that which is capable of providing enough energy at a steady rate. See, this is very important कि steady rate पे मिले. आज भी हमें energy मिल रहा है, कल भी मिले, बाद में भी मिले. So source of energy is that which is capable of providing us enough energy over a long period of time. So for an example, sunlight, right? So sun is giving us energy, continuous energy at a steady rate and for a long period of time. So that is our source of energy. So whatever is able to give us energy for a long period of time will become a source of energy. Learning this definition is very important. I repeat, a source of energy is that which is capable of providing enough useful energy at a steady rate over long period of time. Right? So these are the various sources of energy that we have to learn today in this class. So there are various forms of energy. If we can see, this is solar energy, this is wind energy, this is again solar panels. So there'll be more form of that. This is thermal power plants, right? So we have to study all of them today. Here we can see that one form of energy is converting into another form of energy continuously. So that is why I want to say that energy always get converted from one form to another. And because of that energy, we're able to do work. Like here you can see, from food we're getting the energy so that we're able to run. So that is energy is converted into muscular energy, right? So these conversions are very important in our life, and then only we are able to do some work. So this is about energy and the basic thing कि what a source of energy is. Now अब हमें एक source of energy तो मिल रहा है. There may be a chance कि to utilize one form of energy there are various sources of energy available, but which one to choose, right? So what are the characteristics of a good source of energy? That is very, very important. That now which have all these factors will be a good source of energy for us. So before choosing a source of energy, we have to assess in all this manner. And this is a question given in your textbook on page 243 BBQ1, as well as it is a question, a textbook question number 8. What are the characteristics of an ideal source of energy or a good source of energy? So let's start. It should be eco-friendly. Eco-friendly का मतलब it should not cause any kind of pollution, or it should not harm the environment. It should be eco-friendly. Of course, हमें ऐसा source तो चाहिए which doesn't cause any problem to the environment. Which is high calorific value. So first you must know what is this calorific value. Calorific value का मतलब होता है that कितना हम एक ऑब्जेक्ट को यूटिलाइज करें so that we can derive the maximum energy from it. I repeat, calorific value क्या होगा कि अगर आप किसी भी फ्यूल को यूटिलाइज कर रहे हैं, किसी भी सोर्स ऑफ एनर्जी को फिर यूटिलाइजिंग, तो वो कितना हीट एनर्जी प्रोड्यूस करता है. एंड यू नो उसका कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स अच्छा कब होता है, जब आप एक फ्यूल को यूटिलाइज करें और वो आपको मैक्सिमम अमाउंट ऑफ हीट एनर्जी दे इन द मिनिमम यूटिलाइजेशन. ओके, सो जब आप एक स्पेसिफाइड क्वांटिटी के फ्यूल को बर्न करते हैं, देन द अमाउंट ऑफ हीट एनर्जी विच यू गेट इज द कैलोरीफिक वैल्यू. अब हाई कैलोरीफिक वैल्यू का क्या मतलब है कि हमें हाई हीट एनर्जी मिलनी चाहिए व्हेन यू बर्न दैट पर्टिकुलर फ्यूल, बट थोड़ा क्वांटिटी में बर्न करने पे हमें हाई हीट मिल जाए. That is the best. Okay, so amount of heat which is generated by the complete combustion of a fuel is known as calorific value, and it should be high, मतलब high heat generate होना चाहिए by burning that particular by combustion of that particular fuel. Then it should be easily available, right? अगर हमें problem होगा तो it will not be a source of energy for us, a good source of energy. Should be easy to transport as well, right? Then it should be safe to use, it should be easy to store as well. So these are the basic criteria, this four, right? It should be easy to use, it should be easy to store, easy to transport, then it should be easily available, then of course it should not cause any harm to environment, and then it should be of course cheap, क्योंकि your source of energy हमें continuously चाहिए at a steady rate for a long period of time. So it should be cheap enough so that we can get the maximum benefit. And of course then high calorific value, just remember this thing. And this that what are the good source of energy? It's an important question from the exam point of view. So understand that nicely, learn it nicely. Okay. Now fuel. अभी fuel क्या होता है? Now we have recently talked about fuel. So any substance that you're utilizing to produce heat energy. Okay. So material which are born to produce heat energy will be termed as fuel. This coal, you're using this coal, you're burning it, it is producing heat. So it is a fuel for us. So whatever fuel which you're using is to produce heat energy is our fuel. Okay. Now again, there is this thing ki what are the characteristics of good fuel? Now, if you're using a fuel, it should also have some characteristics. And how will you choose a fuel? If there are 100 options available, which one to choose? Then for that, we should have some criteria. So that characteristics of a good fuel is, and also this is a question given on your text in your textbook on page 243 BBQ2. So this is your answer for BBQ2 on page 243. So these are the characteristics. Of course, some of them matches with the source of energy. So it will be easy for you to remember that it should have high calorific value, cheap and easily available, right? Doesn't create any environment pollution. That is, it should be eco-friendly, safe या easy to use, easy to transport. ये सब हमने अभी देखा. So fuel का भी यही सारे characteristic होते हैं. If you have to study two more here, see, it produces less residue on burning. राइट जब हम कोल को यूज करते हैं सो पीछे ऐश रहता है राइट ऐश इज लेफ्ट बिहाइंड जब उसको बर्न करते हो ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए लेस रेजिड्यू होना चाहिए दैट इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी अ गुड फ्यूल राइट then proper ignition temperature now this term is very important ignition temperature ignition का मतलब होता है the minimum temperature that you supply to a fuel so that it starts to burn राइट अब प्रॉपर का क्या मतलब होता है इट शुड नॉट बी टू लो शुड नॉट बी वेरी हाई अगर बहुत लो होगा तो इट कैन कैच फायर इजीली इवन एट रूम टेम्परेचर तो वो भी नहीं होना चाहिए बहुत ज्यादा होगा तो आप कोशिश कर रहे हो कि दैट फ्यूल शुड बर्न और वो बर्न ही नहीं होगा सो देयरफॉर इट शुड हैव अ मॉडरेट इग्निशन टेम्परेचर शुड नॉट बी वेरी लो शुड नॉट बी वेरी हाई and what is ignition temperature the minimum temperature or the heat that you have to supply to burn a particular fuel to derive its energy is called as ignition temperature. They don't ask you this definition of ignition temperature and calorific value here in this case, but you must understand this and should know it nicely. Okay, so these are all characteristics. So learn both characteristics of good source of energy as well as good fuel properly. Moving on, so there are two activities given in your textbook on page number 243. Okay, so these are the two activities, activity 14.1 and activity 14.2. So what they say is that list four forms of energy that you see from morning when you wake up till you reach the school. Then from where do we get these forms of energy and can we call these sources of energy? Why not? So four energy that you use. So you use your muscular energy, right? You use your muscular energy so that you use this muscular energy so that you take baths, so that you put on your clothes, right? Get ready to go to the school. Then we use electrical energy. Why do we use electrical energy? To light up the bathroom, the room, the light, and the other areas, right? Then we have chemical energy. So chemical energy is the breakfast, the food that we're intaking. That is the chemical energy. Then there is some vehicle which must be driving you to the school, your car or your school bus, right? All of them would require another fuel, which is the chemical energy for the vehicle. So these are the four forms of energy that we mostly use in the morning, right? From where are we getting this energy? See, if we talk about this muscular energy, तो हमें muscular energy कहाँ से मिला था? From the food that we have eaten, right? If we are talking about the electrical energy, then how are we getting in? So you must be knowing this basic thing that electrical energy we get it either from the thermal power plants or from the hydroelectric plants, right? And then the chemical energy that we're utilizing, that we get from the food that we're intaking again. So these are all the forms of energy that we're getting from some or the other sources of the energy. If you're talking about the chemical energy for the vehicles, then they are the fossil fuels that we are using, right? Petrol, diesel, CNGs, all these are the fossil fuels. So these are ultimate sources from which we are getting all this energy. But you know what? All these forms of energy are indirectly or directly related to sun. So all the energy that we're using here are related to sun. So ultimately they're all derived from sun. That is the solar energy that we're getting. So can we call this source of energy? Of course, we can call them sources of energy because they are all derived from the solar energy. And we know that the sun is the ultimate form of the energy. So इधर से हमें क्या पता चलता है from this activity that to carry out our day-to-day life, we need sources of energy and sun being the ultimate source of energy. And activity 14.2 is a general type of activity. So what they're saying that we have to consider various options that we have when we choose a fuel for cooking our food. So how do we cook our food? Then what are the criteria that you would consider when trying to categorize them as a good fuel? Then what would be your choice be different if you lived in certain areas, and how were the factors different in each cases? Right, let us understand them now. So what are the options that we can choose to cook our food? We can use the gas cylinder that we have. So gas cylinder, and what is the fuel that we're using? It's LPG, right? Then we can use kerosene also. Then we can use wood also. So these are the basic fuels that we can think of whenever we think of cooking our food. So what criteria are we classifying them and choosing one as a good fuel? So we have just learned the characteristics of good fuel. Those were the criteria on the basis of which we choose them. All right. So one which is able to give us more heat on burning, doesn't produce a lot of smoke, is cheap, is easily available, easy to store, transport, and everything. Okay, now tell me, if you were in forest, what would be your choice for cooking food? Of course, if you're in forest, you're all surrounded by the wood there, right? So our choice would be wood. If you're in a remote mountain village, or if you're on a small island, see, if you're even on mountain or you're on an island, then there is wind. So wind energy or energy of the water, because you know an island, right? That can be converted into electrical energy with the help of which we can cook our food. So when you're in forest, you would use wood. When you're in remote mountain or a island area, you can use wind energy or water energy to convert it into electrical energy. If you're in New Delhi, of course, in New Delhi, that means it's a city area. So in cities, we use LPG. If you lived 5 centuries ago, so 5 centuries ago, there was only properly two choices that we could have used. That is either wood, because it was all forest, or it could be the solar energy. So this could have been our choice when we have lived 5 centuries ago. So what were the factors when we decided ki what are we going to choose as a source of energy? So of course, the availability of the source of energy at that particular place. That means two factors were the availability and the place, right? So I hope so that means, what do we get an idea from here? That if you are at a certain place, your source of energy would depend upon at what place you are, right? So what is the availability at that particular place will define your particular choice of the source of energy. Next, we're moving on to the types of the energy. So how can we classify the energy? So there are two criteria on the basis of which we can classify the energy. That is conventional, non-conventional, and renewable and non-renewable. So energy can be classified or as conventional, non-conventional, or renewable, non-renewable. First, understand what is conventional. Conventional means a particular source of energy which we have been using since years. So if we are using a source of energy from ancient time, it will become our conventional source of energy, right? So which source of energy do you think we have been using since long? So we are using hydro energy or fossil fuels in song, or maybe you can say, ma'am, wind energy also, or also biomass. So all these four type of energy would be categorized under conventional, that is fossil fuel, hydropower plants, then wind energy or biomass. Then non-conventional, of course, it is going to be the opposite of conventional, that is the one that have been not been used since ancient time, but technologies, or we are not, they are not much in use. The technologies are been made in recent times so that we can develop and use this non-conventional sources of energy. But if they talk in terms of difference, then of course you have to mention that these sources of energy have been used from ancient time, and these sources of energy are not used as extensively as the conventional sources. But yeah, the technology have been developed to make them utilize. Examples are nuclear energy, ocean thermal energy, geothermal energy would come under this non-conventional. Okay. Then if we talk about renewable and non-renewable, from the word only we can make out what is renewable. So renewable matlab which can be renewed. Renewed matlab which can be reused, which can be replaced. And non-renewable means which would not be replaced, which cannot be renewed. So if they can be renewed, then they would be inexhaustible. मतलब कभी खत्म ही नहीं होगा. खत्म हुआ, हमने renew कर लिया, again and again we are using the same source of energy. Therefore we say that this energy source is inexhaustible, will never ever end. Whereas if we talk about non-renewable, then non-renewable, that means it cannot be renewed, it cannot be replaced if once they consume. That means they can end, they are exhaustible. So non-renewable sources of energy are exhaustible, cannot be renewed or replaced once they are consumed. And these non-renewable sources of energy which we use now are the major source of pollution, whereas renewable, they don't cause this much of pollution. So if we see the example, then we'll understand better. Non-renewable में आता है आपका fossil resources, right? The fossil resources, they are non-renewable. It takes billions of years for fossil to be replenished again. So it's very difficult if this type of resource is once exhausted. They would can't categorize under non-renewable. But if we talk about renewable, then we can say sun energy, wind energy, all these are renewable sources of energy, as you can see it from here, right? So I hope renewable, non-renewable and conventional, non-conventional are clear to you. Moving on now to fossil fuel. Now we are heading to the energy types or sources of energy that we have to deal today. So fossil fuel, what are fossils basically? See, so years ago, there were the remains of dead plants and animals. Now these dead plants and animals, they got buried inside the earth. Now, under the pressure and the temperature of the earth, they were inside for millions years. Now, because of this temperature and pressure, this remains got converted into fuels, and we call them fossil fuels. So, what are fossils? They are the remains of prehistoric plants and animals which got buried deep inside the earth millions of years ago, and due to the action of the microorganisms under the high pressure and temperature got converted into fossils. Now, if we'll talk about these fossils, so see, since they were the remains of plants and animals में energy कहाँ से आती है? From sun. So that means fossil का भी ultimate source of energy क्या है? Sun. So sun is the ultimate source of energy of fossil fuels also. And we know that technologies have been developed to use these fossil sources. We are using. So because the examples of fossil would include coal, petroleum, CNG, the liquefied petroleum gas, all these are the examples of fossil fuel and we are using them today, right? So that means we have technologies with us. But these fossil fuels are non-renewable source of energy. Why? Because we have limited reserves of this energy, and if we continue to use it what rate we are using them today, then there will be a time then these resources will be depleted, will be deprived of these resources, right? Because the rate of consumption is far more than the rate of production. So if this stage continue that the consumption rate is more, then a future is near that these resources will all be exhausted, right? Hence, we have to look for some alternative sources so that we can avoid this energy crisis. And this is the answer for your question on page number 248, BBQ2, which says that why do we need to look for, or why are we looking at the alternative sources? Conventional sources of energy, that is fossil fuels, are non-renewable and they have limited resource, and if we use them at the present rate then we'll soon be deprived, and hence we have to look for the alternative resources to avoid any energy crisis. This entire thing you have to write when you write down the answer for BBQ2 on page number 248. Now, if we talk about the share that we have of the coal reserve in India, then it's about only 6%. So can you imagine we have 6%, and that is the basic main source of the energy that we have here in India, right? And this may last for more than 250 years at the present rate of consumption. But after 250 years, what? We will not be having any such types of resource, and hence we have to use them sustainably so that we also use them and our future generation can also use this resource. So we have to move towards the sustainable development of this type of resources which are non-renewable in nature. Okay, so these are the fossil fuels that you can see, that this is the one which is formed under the ocean is petroleum, right? And this one is coal that we have. So these are the examples of fossil fuels. Now, there's another question on page number 248, BBQ1, which is what are the disadvantages of using fossil fuels? So what are the disadvantages? As you can see from here, right, we're burning this coal. This is a fossil fuel. If you burn this coal, then what would happen? Then there will be some particles released on burning, and these particles are very, very harmful for the air around. So when you burn fossil fuels, then this fossil fuel produces byproducts which causes air pollution. So one of the major disadvantage is that they are not at all eco-friendly. They causes air pollution. Then second, apart from causing air pollution, there are some particular oxides of carbon, nitrogen and sulfur. Now these oxides, when they combine with rain, then they form acid, which leads to acid rain. And since it causes acid rain, this acid rain is very, very dangerous to monuments as well as to the people around. So another disadvantage is that they produces harmful oxides of carbon, nitrogen and sulfur, which lead to acid rain. Then since carbon dioxide is produced, which is a greenhouse gas, so it will lead to greenhouse effect as well. Now, once they are leading to greenhouse effect and acid rain, then this combustion of the gases, this combustion of the fossil fuels are the main contributors to global warming also, because ultimately they are increasing the temperature of the environment. So they'll cause global warming. So, just remember these three keywords and you'll be able to frame the entire thing. First is air pollution, second is acid rain, greenhouse effect, and then the global warming. These are very important, and this question itself is important. So, and this is very basic also, so learn it nicely. Now we're moving ahead. Now there's an activity on in your textbook on page number 245. Okay, this what they've done here, they have shown you a model of thermoelectric production. That how do we utilize this fossil fuels in our life so that we get whatever form of energy is required. So I'll tell you, when you utilize this fossil fuel, then you get electricity from it. So therefore, we call it as a thermoelectric production. Thermo means heat and electric means electricity. So from heat, we're ultimately deriving the electrical energy. So here is the model. See, it's a very basic thing that we can do. But if taken a pressure cooker here, so अगर pressure cooker पे हम heat supply करेंगे, then there will be a flow of steam. Now the second arrangement is they're taking a tennis ball here. In this tennis ball, they are keeping three slits. Three slits में उन्होंने यहाँ पे metal sheet को insert किया है. Okay, and then they are connecting this tennis ball in the sheet arrangement to a dynamo. Now, what is the function of this dynamo? That this converts this mechanical energy into electrical energy. Now, since it is converting mechanical into electrical, so when this tennis ball starts to rotate, this is a mechanical energy. It would be converted into electrical. So, if I'm connecting a bulb here at the end of the dynamo, it will start to glow. That means with the help of this heat energy, we are converting it into mechanical, which is ultimately getting converted into electrical energy. Therefore, we call it as a thermoelectric production. Okay, so now let us study in detail. So I've already told you that we have a tennis ball which have three slits. We are putting fins, cutting cuts out of metal sheet into the slit. Now we're connecting a dynamo here. Then we're connecting a bulb in series. Now, if we supply heat here at the pressure cooker, again heat would be developed from here. Now, this heat when strikes this metal sheet, what would happen इसमें इतना pressure होता है, इतना heat and pressure होता है, because of which this blade system will start to rotate. Okay, so जैसे ही rotate करेगा, it will move the shaft of this. So इसका dynamo, the generator which we are connecting, ये rotate करेगा, तो इसके साथ में this thing, this is the shaft. This also starts to rotate. When this generator rotates, it gets converted into electrical energy. Now, ma'am, how does this dynamo convert mechanical energy into electrical energy? So for now, you don't worry about that, because we're going to understand that in the next chapter that we're going to deal, which is magnetic effect of electric current. So for now, you just understand that dynamo is one, which we can also call it as a generator. So generator क्या करता है? Generate करता है. What does it generate? It generates electrical energy. How? From mechanical energy. So dynamo or a generator just convert mechanical energy to electrical energy. So what we have seen that here we are supplying heat, right? अभी ये heat क्या था? LPG. that means again you have utilized fossil fuel. So from fossil fuel, you are getting electrical energy. Now this was a model, this was a very small model. We utilized this fossil fuel on a large scale in thermal power plants to generate heat, right? And that we have to see. So let us see this thermal power plants. What happened here in thermal power plants? See, thermal, that means heat. Power, that means electricity. So these are the power plants or the power stations from where, by utilizing heat energy, electrical energy is produced. Okay, so the power station where electrical energy is generated. How? So by a steam. And how do we get the steam? By burning coal. What does the steam do? It turns the turbine. Okay. Now let us see that in detail. So what do? We take fossil fuel or coal. We burn it. We burn it, so what will be produced? We burn it, then that means we are producing heat energy. So heat energy would be produced. Now when heat energy is produced, that heat energy is supplied to water. So क्या होगा उससे उससे क्या होगा कि water heat होगा तो steam produce होगा. So our ultimate aim was to develop or to produce steam. So when we burn coal or fossil fuel, then वाटर को हीट करते हैं उस हीट एनर्जी से विच अल्टीमेटली प्रोड्यूसेस स्टीम. ना जैसे स्टीम प्रोड्यूस होगा दैट स्टीम इज डायरेक्टेड टू टर्बाइन. सो टर्बाइन स्टार्ट्स टू रोटेट बिकॉज ऑफ द ह्यूज प्रेशर ऑफ द स्टीम, right? And then when the moment it rotates, electricity is generated. So basically just remember this flow chart. Burning of coal, fossil fuel, water is heated, steam is produced, turbine rotates, electricity is generated. Right? So this is a thermal power plant where all these actions are done. If you can see, this is the basic flow chart of a thermal power plant. इधर बहुत सारे other factors भी होते हैं. Don't pay attention to this right now. So see, the basic is we're supplying the fuel to the boiler जहाँ पे पानी होता है. So यहाँ से steam produce होता है and this turbine rotate करता है. The moment it rotates, यहाँ पर electricity supply हो जाता है and here we have electricity. And this is the rest of the functioning कि हम cooling करते हैं, condensers लगा दिया and everything, which we don't require to know. The basic thing is this, which we must know. So what is the type of energy conversion? This is very important in exam. They ask you this, कि what is the energy conversion in thermal power plant? So see, क्या था? Coal है, that means chemical energy to mechanical energy and electrical energy. So this is the conversion, chemical to mechanical to electrical. Now one more very important question is asked in the exam which is based on this. कि why are thermal power plants located near coal fields? Coal fields के पास में क्यों होते हैं? See, दो चीजें हैं. The input of the thermal power plant is coal and the output is electricity. So, अगर thermal power plant coal के पास में है, that means there must be certain problem with the coal, right? So handling of coal is not very easy. It is easier to transmit this electricity rather than coal. Why? With the help of pipelines we can supply this, right? But हम इसे supply करना, इसका handling, इसका transporting is very difficult. Therefore, we keep thermal power plants near coal mines. Okay, that is the reason, as it is easier to transmit electricity than to transport or transmit coal. Therefore, thermal power plants are situated near coal fields. This is very important from the exam point of view. Learn this nicely. Okay. Moving on now, I hope thermal power plant is very much clear to you. So now we are moving to next type of energy. So first energy we have understood, that is a fossil fuel which we utilize in thermal power plant. Next is the water energy. So water energy को we utilize in hydroelectric power plant. Okay, so hydroelectric power plant क्या करता है? पानी की energy को utilize करता है और उसको convert कर देता है electrical energy. Now, how do we utilize this water ka energy? So, we make water to fall. And jab bhi water falls from a height, that means it has a potential energy. You've learned this potential energy, kinetic energy in last class, right? Potential energy is any energy in ninth class. Potential energy is any energy which is possessed by an object due to its height, right? And kinetic energy is any energy which is possessed by an object due to its motion, due to its velocity. So if the water is falling, that means it is falling from a height. So it must be having potential energy. From potential energy, it would be converted into kinetic because it is a flowing water. That we will learn right now. So hydroelectric power plant क्या करता है? Potential energy को it converts into electrical energy. Now कैसे करता है? So they are associated with dams. With the help of dams, this entire power plant works. Okay. Now हमारी country का जो requirement है electric energy का almost 25% is fulfilled by this hydropower plants. Okay, so this is a model of hydropower plant. What happen is we have dam here. So dam में से see water is flowing here. जैसे ही water flow होता है, we have a turbine here. It will start to rotate. Generator will produce electricity, and we have the power transmission cables here, right? This is the basic thing that you should know. Now, what is a dam? Now, this question is again important. They ask you this question: what is a dam? What is the purpose of dam? And what are the certain disadvantages associated with dam? This is a favorite question of examiner. So what is a dam? So dam is a barrier, right? Why it is a barrier? Because it stops the flow of water. Here we have water. यहाँ पे डैम रिजर्वायर की तरह एक्ट करता है. रिजर्वायर मतलब एक स्टोरेज की तरह एक्ट करता है और वो ऑब्स्ट्रक्ट करता है द फ्लो ऑफ वाटर. So dam is a barrier that stop or restrict the flow of water by collecting the water in a large reservoir. ठीक है, कैसे स्टॉप करता है, कलेक्ट करता है? It's collect. So basically it is a barrier that stops the flow of water by collecting it in a big reservoir. Okay. So this is a dam. As you can see, these are the dams. Water flow को यहाँ पे storage होता है and whenever required we have this. So इसका पूरा एक thermal power plant है. We'll see it right now. पहले डैम के बारे में कुछ वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड सर्टेन थिंग्स अबाउट डैम. सो फर्स्ट डैम क्या होता है दैट इज क्लियर टू यू, बट देयर आर सर्टेन एडवांटेजेस एंड सर्टेन disadvantages that are associated with dams. Let's understand and go through them first. So first is it is acting as a reservoir. Since it is acting as a reservoir, that means we can save and store water. So that water which we're using or saving it in dam can be used in the time of scarcity. Then since वो barrier की तरह act करता है, that means it is obstructing the flow of water, so it control floods also, right? And then it is not only helping us in controlling flood and saving our water, but it is a multi-purpose project because water that is stored here can be used for irrigation purpose, domestic purpose nearby as well. Then also it provides employment to large people because construction of dam require a huge man force as well as it require huge time. So it provide large employment to people for a longer duration of time. Then also we know that we go to dam, we go and visit it. So it's a recreational site for tourists. So these are certain advantages. You must learn them nicely. These are some logical advantages also. तो लॉजिकली इसको याद करने की कोशिश करना. डिसएडवांटेजेस क्या क्या हो सकते हैं? सो इट कैन नॉट बी कंस्ट्रक्टेड एवरीवेयर ऑन ऑल द रिवर साइड, राइट? हिली एरियाज में तो इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू कंस्ट्रक्ट दिस डैम. Then job you have to construct a dam, then you have to clear out a large agriculture area, so that means it leads to deforestation, right? Then vegetation which got submerged under the water because of this dams, वो क्या करता है जब सबमर्ज हो जाता है तो एनारोबिक कंडीशन में वो रॉट करता है. एनारोबिक मतलब वहां पर ऑक्सीजन नहीं मिलता है. And whenever if there is anaerobic condition, then methane gas is produced, which is the greenhouse gas. So it's the biggest disadvantage of constructing dam, that the vegetation which got submerged under the dam brought under anaerobic condition, producing large amount of methane gas, which is the greenhouse gas, right? Then it creates the problem of displacement of people. So local people jitne bhi honge, you have to rehabilitate them, which is a real big problem again. So creating the problem of satisfactory rehabilitation of the local displaced people is the again another disadvantage. Then sometime because of the dams, the that particular area or terrain is very much exposed to earthquake and landslides, etc. This disadvantage you have to learn them nicely. So I just repeat quickly: it cannot be constructed everywhere on the hilly terrains. Then it leads to deforestation because it requires a large area. Then the vegetation that got submerged inside it rot under anaerobic condition, giving rise to greenhouse gas, which is methane. Then create a problem of satisfactory rehabilitation of the local displaced people. Then it possesses the danger of earthquake, landslides, and also a large ecosystem chain is damaged here. So large ecosystem is destroyed in this process of constructing dam. But this is very essential also so that we get the hydroelectric power plant. Therefore, we can't compromise on making it. Right? So now how does this hydroelectric power plant work? So what we do is water is stored in a dam. Now from the dam, it is allowed to fall from great height at a great force. Now this falling water, when it strikes the turbine, it rotates the turbine. When the turbine rotates, that rotating turbine is connected to a generator. The generator produces electricity. From water falling, rotating turbine, we have electricity, right? So this is how it works. Can you see? We have water here, dam में store हो गया. From dam it is falling over the turbine. Turbine से generator connected है. So we have electricity, right? So what type of energy conversion can we see here? So see what's happening. We have water stored here. So this stored water would have potential energy that would be converted into the kinetic energy of flowing water जब वो flow करता है. So potential energy of stored water into kinetic energy of flowing water. Turbine rotate करता है, तो that means mechanical energy and ultimately electrical energy is generated. Again, this is a favorite of examiner. What is the energy conversion taking place in a hydropower plant? So, potential energy of stored water to kinetic energy of flowing water to mechanical energy of turbine into electrical energy. That was a hydroelectric power plant, but there are some advantages and disadvantages associated with hydroelectric power plant. Let us see the advantages first. So we are in a hydroelectric power plant, the main source of energy that we are using is water, which is a renewable source of energy. So water is a renewable source of energy. If we can see, it's eco-friendly. It is not causing or emission of any gases, any harmful gases in the environment. So it doesn't create any kind of pollution here, right? Then if you talk about disadvantage, then when you construct dam, it's a huge project. So the initial investment cost is high. Then we have seen that dams cannot be constructed everywhere. We have seen that the ecosystem is destroyed. Then we have to rehabilitate the local displaced people, which is again a big problem. Then there's a loss of vegetation because some vegetation is getting submerged under that power plant. So these are the main factor, the major problem that we undergo when we construct this hydroelectric power plant. Okay, but we cannot just ignore making this power plant because that is one of the main sources of energy in India. About 25% of requirement is from that of the electricity. So we have to construct them, right? So two sources we have learned, that is fossil fuel and the other one was water. Now the third one that we're going to learn is biomass. Now biomass, as you can see, these are all the sources of biomass. ये सबको हम बोलते हैं biomass. So animal residue, industrial से कुछ भी sewage waste आता है, forest का crops या कुछ residue आता है, agricultural residue होता है, sewage होता है, municipal solid waste होता है, और आपके vegetable peels होते हैं, organic waste होता है. So all this together we call it as a biomass. Okay, so biomass ka definition if we'll talk about, then this is the living matter or its residue. So the living matter or its residue is called as biomass. This we have to write, or its residue. Okay, the living matter and its residue is called as biomass. Now biomass के कितने types of biomass होते हैं, and there are some questions that are asked on the basis of this types of biomass. Biomass is another favorite type of thing that examiner ask. Okay, so अच्छी से हमें इसको समझना है. तो biomass के जो types होते हैं, there are 4 types of the biomasses that we have to learn here. First is wood. So wood is a biomass, and we know that wood we have been using for a long time as a fuel, right? Then wood से बनता है charcoal. So again, since it is from wood, the charcoal is from wood, then we again call it as biomass. Now how is this charcoal formed? So this is formed from wood. Now how that we're going to see. चलो पहले wood के बारे में देखते हैं. But if we are using wood, then there are certain disadvantages. See, when you use and when you burn it, अभी इसको यूटिलाइज करने के लिए to produce heat energy we have to burn it. जब हम इसको burn करते हैं तो it produces a lot of smoke. So first it produces a lot of smoke on burning. Then इसका calorific value बहुत कम होता है. It doesn't produce much heat. Smoke produce करता है, harmful gases release करता है, पर heat नहीं produce करता. It has a very low calorific value. It is not considered as a good source of energy then. तो फिर हम क्या करते हैं? तो फिर हम wood को convert करते हैं charcoal में. How do we convert this wood into charcoal? By a process called as destructive distillation of wood. Okay, destructive distillation of wood. Now what is this destructive distillation of wood? So we burn wood in a limited supply of air. So जितना भी volatile substance in water होता है वो remove हो जाता है, and what is left behind is charcoal. So wood से we get charcoal. Why do we need this charcoal? Because there are some disadvantages associated with wood, which is lot of smoke on burning. Then it doesn't produces much heat on burning. That is, it has low calorific value. So we require charcoal. Charcoal कहाँ से आता है? Due to destructive distillation. What is the process of burning the wood in limited supply of air so that water and other volatile substances is removed and charcoal is formed, right? Now, why is this charcoal better than wood? Because इसका high calorific value होगा. It doesn't produce much smoke on burning. It is easy to use as compared to that of wood. नाउ ये क्वेश्चन एग्जामिनर का फेवरेट है कि व्हाई इज चारकोल. आप बोलोगे मैम कितने क्वेश्चंस फेवरेट है. आई नो आई हैव टोल्ड मेनी क्वेश्चंस, ये भी है, बट या सम ऑफ द अदर पॉइंट पे वो ये पूछता है, कभी क्या पूछता है. ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ द फ्रीक्वेंसी द एग्जामिनर आस्क्स दिस क्वेश्चन इज अगेन दे आर आस्किंग इन द पेपर दैट व्हाई इज चारकोल कंसिडर्ड एज अ बेटर फ्यूल देन वुड. बिकॉज इट हैज हाई कैलोरीफिक वैल्यू, it doesn't produces much smoke on burning, right? And it is easy to handle as compared to wood. Okay. Now we're moving to two more type of the biomass. दो हमने देखे wood, charcoal. Now we have to see cow dung and biogas. Okay. Now what is this cow dung? Again this is biomass. But अगर हम इसको directly burn करके use करेंगे, so it is not good. Why it is not good? So there are of course disadvantages of burning it. Again see, main तो wood और cow dung का same disadvantage. It produces lot of smoke on burning and it has low calorific value. Okay, and also this cow dung, it doesn't burn completely also. So पूरा burn नहीं होता है, तो some ashes left behind. Right? So if ashes left behind, that doesn't consider to be good. Okay, so what are the disadvantages associated here? Low calorific value, doesn't produce doesn't burn completely, so is ashes left behind and it produces a lot of smoke. So फिर हम क्या करते हैं? तो हम cow dung को use नहीं कर सकते. From cow dung we produces this biogas. Okay, so biogas क्या होता है? It is a mixture of gases. अभी हम देखते हैं कि कौन कौन सी gases होती है biogas में. It is a mixture of gases which is obtained by anaerobic degradation of this biomass in the presence of water. When I say anaerobic degradation, I mean in the absence of air and with the help of some anaerobic bacteria. Okay, so what is biogas? Again, have to learn it by heart. So what is biogas? It's a mixture of gases which is obtained by anaerobic degradation of biomass in the presence of water. This entire thing, learn it step by step में याद करो. तो बायोगैस क्या है? मिक्सचर ऑफ गैसेस. कैसे मिलता है? एनारोबिक डिग्रेडेशन. किसका एनारोबिक डिग्रेडेशन? बायोमास का. किसके प्रेजेंस में? वाटर की प्रेजेंस में. ठीक है. Now next important, why is biogas considered to be a better fuel than biomass? ओके, तो बायोगैस क्यों? क्योंकि इसका जो प्लांट होता है बायोगैस का, वो हम कहीं भी बना सकते हैं. इट कैन बी बिल्ट एनीवेयर इन द रूरल एरियाज ऑल्सो. इट इज अ क्लीन फ्यूल. क्यों क्लीन फ्यूल है ये? बिकॉज इट बर्न्स विदाउट स्मोक. वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. अभी तक हम देख रहे थे कि स्मोक प्रोड्यूस हो ही रहा था. दिस बर्न्स विदाउट स्मोक. देन नो रेजिड्यू इज लेफ्ट बिहाइंड. कोई ऐश नहीं पीछे रहता है जब आप इसको यूज करते हैं. Then when you use this biogas, I told you it's a mixture of gases. One of the gases which is found in biogas is methane. Now this methane, it has a high calorific value. Since it has a high calorific value, its heat efficiency would be more, right? So जब भी किसी का आपको advantage बोलना है, तो that means उसका calorific value तो ज़्यादा ही होगा, that's why using. और वो clean fuel भी होगा, it must be burning without smoke, right? Then अभी क्या होता है? अभी ये स्पेंट स्लरी क्या होता है? वी आर गोइंग टू राइट नाउ सी हियर, तब समझ में आ जाएगा आपको. तो स्पेंट स्लरी, जो बचा हुआ स्लरी होता है, दैट इज रिच इन नाइट्रोजन एंड फास्फोरस. मतलब जिसमें बहुत न्यूट्रिएंट्स होता है, तो हम इसको मैन्योर की तरह भी यूज करते हैं. जब हम बायोगैस को यूज करते हैं, सो अल्टीमेटली वी आर सेविंग आवर फायरवुड. वुड नहीं यूज कर रहे हैं यहाँ पे. सीड्स फ्रॉम काउडंग. काउडंग से भी आप बायोगैस बना सकते हैं, क्योंकि बायोमास से अल्टीमेटली यू आर प्रोड्यूसिंग बायोगैस. बायोमास के फॉर्म में देयर इज काउडंग, ऑर्गेनिक पील, इंडस्ट्रियल वेस्ट है, एग्रीकल्चर सीवेज है. सो ऑल दिस यू कैन कन्वर्ट इट इनटू बायोगैस. सो देयर बाय अल्टीमेटली यू आर सेविंग योर फायरवुड. सो डिफॉरेस्टेशन रिड्यूस होगा इफ यू आर यूजिंग बायोगैस. Right? So these are the advantages of biogas. Learn them nicely. Now this is our biogas plant. So whenever something is producing, thermal power plant था तो आप fossils use करते थे और electricity generate करते थे. यहाँ पर since it's a biogas plant, you are generating biogas here from biomass. ठीक है? तो biomass से हमें biogas मिलता है. The name of this plant is fixed dome shaped biogas plant. See यहाँ पे ऐसा dome shaped होता है, इसलिए we name it as a fixed dome shaped biogas plant. There is another type also, floating bulb type, but वो हमारे कोर्स में नहीं है. We don't have to go through that. So we have to understand only fixed dome type biogas plant. तो देखो यहाँ पर होता क्या है, I'll just tell you everything. See, it starts from here. There is a mixing tank. अभी आपको मिक्स करना है, तो किसको मिक्स करते हो? हमें पता है बायोगैस जनरेट करना है, बायोमास से स्टार्ट करना है, तो बायोमास लेंगे. बायोमास में द मेन सोर्स इज वी आर यूजिंग द कैटल डंग हियर. उसको पानी के साथ मिक्स कर देते हैं. जब आप काउ डंग को पानी के साथ मिक्स करते हो, इट इज कॉल्ड अ स्लरी. ठीक है, तो स्लरी समझ में आ गया अभी क्या होता है. स्लरी इज बेसिकली द मिक्सिंग और द मिक्सचर ऑफ काउ डंग विद द इक्वल प्रोपोर्शन ऑफ वाटर. ठीक है, अभी आपने इसको मिक्स करा इस मिक्सिंग टैंक से. इट विल गो फ्रॉम दिस इनलेट चेम्बर. वी हैव अ चेम्बर हियर. इनलेट चेम्बर से ये नीचे गया, ये यहाँ पर आ गया. यहाँ पर इस टैंक, दिस इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड एज अ टैंक, इसको बोलते हैं डाइजेस्टर टैंक. डाइजेस्टर टैंक में क्या हो जाएगा? डाइजेस्ट हो जाएगा. डाइजेस्ट हो जाएगा मतलब ये कन्वर्ट होगा. तो यहाँ पे सर्टेन बैक्टीरियाज आर प्रेजेंट व्हिच आर एनारोबिक बैक्टीरिया. क्यों? बिकॉज ये कंप्लीटली सील्ड होता है, इसमें यहाँ पर अंदर बिल्कुल भी ऑक्सीजन नहीं होता. तो एनारोबिक बैक्टीरिया प्रेजेंट होते हैं. इन द एब्सेंस ऑफ ऑक्सीजन दे विल कन्वर्ट, उस पर एक्ट करेंगे कैटल डंक और वाटर पर, उसको कन्वर्ट कर देंगे बायोगैस में. सी यहाँ पर अपर एंड पे डोम शेप्ड स्ट्रक्चर है, बायोगैस कलेक्ट हो जाता है एंड देन देयर इज अ गैस आउटलेट हियर. तो ये आउटफ्लो गैस हम यहाँ से कलेक्ट कर लेंगे. लेकिन हमें पता है कि अगर एक्शन होगा तो कुछ तो बचेगा. तो जो बचता है उसको हम बोलते हैं स्पेंट स्लरी. स्पेंट मतलब बचा कुचा, स्लरी. तो नाउ दिस बचा कुचा slurry, because of the pressure of the biogas, will flow from outlet chamber into the overflow tank. फ्लो हो रहा है इसलिए इसको ओवरफ्लो टैंक बोलते हैं और यहाँ से हम इसको यूटिलाइज कर सकते हैं. तो सीन, स्लरी गया, कन्वर्ट होया बायोगैस में, स्पेंट स्लरी को वी आर यूटिलाइजिंग. ओके, नाउ लेट अस क्विकली सी दिस एंटायर प्रोसेस फास्ट. Okay, so this is the biogas plant. Four main things or tanks we have to remember. Mixing tank. Mixing tank से inlet chamber से connected होता है digestor tank. Digestor tank में there is a dome shaped structure to which we have a gas outlet. Then digester tank से outlet chamber के through में we have a overflow tank. Okay, and let us see mixing tank में क्या होता है. So mixing tank में a slurry of animal dung, that is gobar, and other waste material is prepared by mixing it with equal amount of water. So mixing tank तो mix करते हैं. mix किसको करते हैं? काउ डंग को पानी के साथ में. सी इसको हम हिंदी में गोबर बोलते हैं. You know, so from the gobar we are getting this gas. So this gas is sometimes called as a gobar gas also. So examiner ये भी पूछता है, why is biogas called as a gobar gas? Because the main ingredient or the starting material of the biogas is cow dung, which is gobar, hence it is also called as a gobar gas. Okay, then inlet chamber से ये mixing tank slurry, it goes into the digester tank. In the digester tank we have some anaerobic bacteria which act upon the slurry for about 50 to 60 days in complete absence of oxygen. तो ये decompose होगा. When it decompose, the gas is collected in the dome and the dome is provided with the gas outlet which is attached to a valve, so we can collect the gas from the valve and the gas outlet here. And since this biogas keeps on collecting in the dome, it exerts a pressure on the slurry in the digester tank. So this pressure forces the spent slurry to go into the overflow tank through the outlet chamber. This is the entire biogas plant. So it's very easy to remember the process, you know, when you remember the name of this thing. So mixing tank, inlet chamber, digester tank. ऊपर डोम है क्योंकि इसका नाम है फिक्स डोम शेप प्लांट, तो उसमें गैस आउटलेट है, राइट. और फिर बाहर भी तो जाएगा कुछ, तो इनलेट चेम्बर है तो आउटलेट चेम्बर भी होगा. मिक्सिंग टैंक था तो फ्लो होता है तो ओवरफ्लो टैंक होगा. दिस इज हाउ यू रिमेंबर द एंटायर थिंग. Okay, so this is a biogas plant, the input and the output. Let us see. सी ये बायोगैस प्लांट है, ये इनपुट है और यहाँ पे ये आउटपुट है, यहाँ पे खाना बन रहा है एंड दिस इज द इनपुट, राइट। सो इनपुट क्या है हमारा, ऑर्गेनिक मैटर प्लस हम पानी के साथ मिक्स करते हैं तो उसको हम स्लरी बोलते हैं। आउटपुट में हमको क्या क्या मिलता है, हमको बायोगैस भी मिला है और हमको वो बचा कुचा स्लरी भी मिला है। दिस वॉज आवर आउटपुट, राइट। ये ऑर्गेनिक मैटर पे, स्लरी पे कौन एक्ट करता है, anaerobic bacteria. Example of anaerobic bacteria are, you have to remember the name of this because they ask name to microorganisms present in the biogas plant or helps in the production of biogas. So they are acetogen and methanogen. Okay. Now, this spent slurry, since it is very rich in nutrient, it is utilized by farmers as manures. So this is very important to remember कि organic slurry पे बैक्टीरिया एक्ट करते हैं विच आर एसिटोजन मिथेनोजन। स्पेंट स्लरी में न्यूट्रिएंट्स बहुत होता है तो उसको फार्मर्स यूज करते हैं एज अ मैन्योर। देन दिस बायोगैस, आई टोल्ड यू इट इज अ मिक्सचर ऑफ 4 gases. So these 4 gases are methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen and hydrogen sulfide. So these are the 4 gases. So biomass से you are getting biogas. Biogas is a mixture of 4 gases: methane, carbon dioxide, hydrogen and hydrogen disulfide. Okay. Sorry, hydrogen sulfide. I hope you'll remember it. Now we're moving to next kind of energy, that is wind energy. Now moving to wind energy. Okay. पहले समझते हैं wind क्या होता है. See, when there is unequal heating of the land masses and water bodies. Unequal heating कैसे होता है? Due to solar radiation. ठीक है. जब unequal heating होता है तो air का movement start हो जाता है. So when air moves, then the movement of air is wind. So unequal heating of the land masses by the solar radiation causes air movement, which causes wind to blow. अभी वो blow हो रहा है. If wind is moving, right? So that means we can say wind क्या होता है? Moving air. So wind is nothing but the moving air. अभी अगर air move हो रही है, कुछ भी चीज, if anything is moving, it will have some kind of energy, right? Because anything in motion will have an energy called as kinetic energy. So since air is moving, so this wind will also have kinetic energy. Now this kinetic energy is called as wind energy. So this kinetic energy of wind is called as wind energy. Now this wind energy is utilized to lift water from the well and generate electricity also in the windmill. How are we going to see? बट इफ वी टॉक अबाउट वन सिंगल विंडमिल, अगर एक ही विंडमिल होगा तो उसका आउटपुट बहुत छोटा होता है. सो व्हाट वी डू, ओवर अ लार्ज एरिया वी कनेक्ट अ नंबर ऑफ विंडमिल्स. व्हेन नंबर ऑफ विंडमिल्स आर कनेक्टेड ओवर अ लार्ज एरिया, दैट बिकम्स अ विंड फार्म. सो विंडमिल एक स्ट्रक्चर होता है, बहुत सारे स्ट्रक्चर विल बिकम अ विंड फार्म. विंड कब ब्लो होता है? जब अनइक्वल हीटिंग होता है ऑफ द लैंड masses ड्यू टू सोलर रेडिएशन. एंड मूविंग एयर को वी कॉल इट एज विंड. What kind of energy is in wind? Kinetic energy. Okay. So that kinetic energy is wind energy. Wind energy is utilized in windmill, but windmill is very small to generate output. So we have a number of windmills that is called as wind farm. Now Denmark is called as a country of wind. This is a one marker question. Just remember this nicely. Which is called as country of winds? Denmark. डेनमार्क में बहुत अच्छा विंड होता है, वहां पे विंड एनर्जी सिस्टम बहुत अच्छा है. सो दिस डेनमार्क इज कॉल्ड एज कंट्री ऑफ विंड. एंड जर्मनी इज द लीडिंग कंट्री which is used in wind, which is using this wind energy to produce electricity. If we talk about India, India is ranked 5th in utilizing this wind energy. So the wind farm that is established in India is near Kanyakumari in Tamil Nadu, and it generates about 380 megawatts of electric energy. Okay, and it is estimated that if full wind potential of India is utilized, that we can generate 45,000 megawatts of electric power, which is really huge. So but we are not utilizing this wind energy to the highest potential, hence we are not able to generate this amount of electric power as of now. But if we do so, we can generate. Now, this is the example of a windmill. So, if one single is present, it is called as windmill. But if you'll see this multiple windmills, we never see this type of structure. We always see this various number of the windmills over a large area. This become a wind farm. Now, let us quickly see what is a windmill. So, windmill basically is a machine that converts the kinetic energy of wind into the mechanical energy or electrical energy. Right? So, this is basically a windmill. So if you can see this windmill, it is resembling a large fan like a structure which is erected over, see, this is a fan which is erected over some pole or at some height on a support, right? So see, यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? This is windmill, इसका fan है, wind energy strikes here, there we have a generator. See, this is basically the working of a windmill. So the wind passes over the blades of this windmill and make them rotate, right? Which energy do we have when the wind passes? Kinetic energy. Now, when the blades rotate, these blades of the windmill rotate, there is a shaft connected here. Okay, now there is a shaft connected here. The shaft also starts to rotate. Shaft is any kind of a rod-like structure. You understand that way. Okay, then this shaft is connected to a generator. If you can see here, this is a generator. This is a shaft, right? So this generator also start to rotate. That means this kinetic energy is converted into mechanical energy, which is here converted into electrical energy because we have generator. Generator will generate electricity. Now then that is connected to a transformer. So ट्रांसफॉर्मर क्या होता है, जितना भी आपको राइट वोल्टेज चाहिए होता है तो वो वोल्टेज को कन्वर्ट कर देता है. स्टेप अप एंड स्टेप डाउन, देयर आर टू ट्रांसफॉर्मर्स which will either increase or decrease your voltage according to the requirement of the particular place. So transformer correct करता है उसको right voltage पे and then electricity is supplied. Okay, so wind blows, it rotates the blades of the windmill, due to which the shaft rotate and the electric generator is connected to the shaft. It will generate the electrical energy which will be utilized later, right? So this resembles a large electric fan which is here at some rigid support. This is how a windmill functions. So what kind of energy conversion have we seen here? Kinetic energy to mechanical energy to electrical energy. Alright. Now there are some merits and demerits. Again, whenever we learn this topic, see हमें merits or demerits तो पढ़ना ही है. So merits of wind energy is it's eco-friendly. It is not causing any kind of environment pollution. Right. Then it is a renewable source of energy. Wind is a renewable source of energy, so we can use it over a period of time. Then it require no expenses for the production of electricity. कि future और कुछ इसमें expense होगा, so there will be no recurring cost later on. Okay. What are the limitations of wind energy? So the basic thing is this type of a system will only work with a specific wind speed. If the wind speed is less than 15 km per hour, then that place is not suitable for generation of electricity from wind. So the continuous flow hona chahiye more than 15 km per hour ka throughout the year. Then only this wind energy farm can be set up. So that means it can be set up only at few limited places, right, where the speed of the wind is more than 15 km per hour throughout the year. Then we need some backup facility because जब अगर कभी-कभी wind नहीं हुआ तो that backup facility से we can rotate the shaft so that generate electricity can be generated constantly. Now we know that this type of a arrangement is a large area. So अगर large area of land चाहिए, ultimately we have to clear the land again. That means leading to deforestation. Now the initial cost of installation is huge. बहुत costing लगता है. So initial cost is huge. And then again maintenance बहुत होगा because continuous wind होगा, so blades होगा, metal blades होता है, so there are chances that we have to maintain it. So continuous exposure होता है, कभी rainfall होता है, cyclones होता है, so there is a continuous exposure of the natural calamities or the natural things, so huge maintenance is required. Right, so we have seen 4 types of energy today. Rest we're going to see in the next chapter. These all were the conventional sources of energy. So what were the conventionals that we've learned? Fossil, water energy, that is through hydroelectric power plant, then bioenergy, that is from the biomass, and then we've learned wind energy. So these 4 are the conventional type of energy. I hope you understood them nicely and clearly. So this is the type of the wind arrangement. Thank you for watching this lecture. I hope conventional sources of energy are clear to you. और अभी तक if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you. Bye.